Hi, welcome back. Okay, in this section we'll be talking about methods. Okay, now methods is a powerful concept used in programming. Okay, now essentially a method is a block of code that performs a specific task. Okay, now often programs and applications contain huge tons of lines of code, and we need to organize them into parts, very much like a book, how it is divided into chapters. Okay, so we have to group our hundreds of thousands of lines of code into task-oriented portions. We can do that using a method. Okay, now a method, first it consists of a header, okay, an opening curly brace, a body, and a closing curly brace. Now actually you have already implemented a method, but you might not be aware. Now for example, in your in so far all the application that you have done, right? Okay, you have actually implemented a method called main. Okay, now this method name is called main. Okay, and it takes in an argument of which is an array. Okay, and it has a opening brace and a closing brace. Okay, so see how similar this is. Okay, you have a method header line. Okay, tells you the name of the method, the opening brace and the closing brace, and variable declarations and other Java statements. Okay, so that now example of a method. Okay, we have the method header over here. Okay, it's public. Okay, meaning it's accessible by all. Okay, it's a static method, meaning you do not have to instantiate an object for it. Okay, but you don't have to worry about this anymore. Now, okay, now the return type of a method is integer, meaning when this method exits, it will return a integer, okay, to the thing that has called the method. Okay, now and over here, what this is the method name. So the method name of this method is find larger. Okay, so this is method header, and finally, okay, this method takes in two arguments. Okay, arguments are simply values which the method takes. Okay, and you take it in and then you process it. Now the first argument is an integer called a, second argument is an integer called b. Okay, and the method name of this is called find larger. So method name should typically describe what the method does. Okay, over here it's quite intuitive. It says find the larger number given a and b. Okay, so to do that, we declare a variable called larger number, and the code to find the larger number, if a is more than b, then the larger number would obviously be a, else the larger number would be b. Okay, and whatever it is, we return the larger number. So this method, okay, is one which can, as long as you need to find a larger number, you can call this method. Alright, you don't have to cut and paste this code and replace it here and there. Okay, so it's a much better grouping of code, okay, which is important in the long run. Alright, so a closer look at the method header, right, which I've mentioned. Public is the access modifier for method. Okay, and static is a method modifier. You can ignore this for now. Integer is the return type. Find larger is the method name, and integer a, integer b are the arguments of the method. Okay, so as mentioned, for arguments, okay, arguments are the data put into the method. Okay, and like variables, each data should have a data type. Meaning here, in this case, it's an integer data type. Of course, it can be a string, it can be a double, it can be a character, and so on. Now, a method can have no argument. Okay, for example, say hello, no arguments. You see the in between the brackets, it's blank. Or it can have one argument, okay, or it can have many arguments. For example, sum. Okay, the method take the sum of many things. Okay, you can have many arguments over here. Okay, infinite. Okay, what's important is the data type for each argument must be declared. Alright. Okay, and each method we have a return type. Return type is data type returned from the method. Okay, and for example, if the return type value is 2, the return type is integer. If the return type value is pass, return type is string. If the method does not return any value, the return type is void. For example, in our case here, okay, we do not return any value, so the return type is void. Okay, but in this example here, our return type is integer because it returns a larger number, and the type of larger number is an integer. Okay, So we have another example of a method with return type string, okay, where we have a method header here and return type is string. We method name get country and argument to pass into the method integer country code. Okay, so what we are doing is a switch case statement. Okay, a switch case statement is something like if else. Okay, but it simply evaluates a single value and based on certain conditions. Okay, if it's like 65, okay, country will be Singapore. If it's 61, country is Australia. If it's 60, Malaysia, and else it's not found. And once after that, we will return the country. So it's either Singapore, Australia, Malaysia, or not found. Okay, but the country is a string. Okay, hence the return type is string. Okay. So to call methods, supply the input arguments needed and get back the return value. This is referred as a method call, where we are calling a method. Okay, now for example, okay, method call demonstration. Okay, in the main method, which our code starts from. Okay, now we want an answer, okay, to find the larger of 2 and 3. Okay, so over here we declare a variable answer, and answer equals to, okay, find larger and 2 comma 3. What we are doing here is actually calling the method. Okay, so from here it will actually, from in this line, it will actually come to the method itself and then execute the find larger. So A and B will actually be 2 and 3. Okay, A and B will actually 2 and 3. Now to demonstrate this, I will quickly copy and paste this whole portion over here to just to let you see, okay, and fully understand. Oops, let me just stop this. Alright, okay. Let me just put them properly. Alright. Okay. Now let's run the thing. Let's run this thing first. Okay. Oops, some errors. Okay, what's this? It's not contain. Oh, this has to be a capital M. Okay, no, it's not. Now let's run it in debug mode. Okay. Okay, now answer find larger. Okay, in this case it's 2 and 3. Now we can do a step into now. Okay, a step into is it will step into a method if there's a method call. Step into, so find larger, you see it pops up and appears at the find larger method. Okay, and now if you mouse over A and B now, A and B are actually 2 and B is 3 because these are the values that has been given to the method 2 and 3. Okay, so this 2 corresponds and this 3 corresponds to B. So if A is more than B, 2 is more than 3, it's a false. So it will enter the else condition. So 3 is the larger number and we return back here and we exit the method and we output larger number is 3. Okay, so that is how we do a simple method call over here.